You think about the Banking on Change workshop that we recently facilitated, and this came up, uh, the lack of action or inaction that individuals and teams take all comes down to this one perspective. It's fear. And you can look at this from a couple of different lenses. It's the idea of FUD. You've got fear, but then you also, well, okay, I might not be completely fearful, but the second element of FUD is uncertainty.
Right.
So that's a lack of clarity.
And that this is big in this industry full of perfectionists.
That's
That's where that comes in.
well, there's the perfectionist, but then there's also the initiating modality or the MO for financial brand leaders when we think about the Kolbe
Right.
profile.
Right.
They initiate action with fact finding. And
Mhm.
so the uncertainty, they don't have enough quote unquote data to make a decision to take action or to solve a problem. I would push back on that. I think there are teams, there are leaders who have enough data, but the procrastination kicks in
Mhm.
and they procrastinate as a way to avoid taking action because then the last D of FUD, you got fear, you've got uncertainty, there's doubt.
Yeah.
And doubt doubt will chip away, uncertainty will chip away at motivation. And so it's like you've got these contrasting emotions. You've got confusion on one side of the spectrum, uncertainty, doubt. You've got commitment, courage, confidence on the other side of the spectrum. And what where are you going to fall? Where are you going to make a commitment? Is it going to be to, and this is a book by Benjamin. I can't think of Benjamin's last name, but the book is called
Party?
not Ben Hardy.
No?
His book is called Pluck the FUD, and it's what are we going to do to uproot Ben Ward? What are we going to do to uproot the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt that is holding us back, so that we can continue to increase our courage to commit to move forward with confidence? And really, at the end of the day, it's a commitment that we're going to have to just take this one step at a time and be very mindful of our mindset, but our emotions, because our emotions are going to really influence our behavior in one way, shape, form, or fashion.
How much do you think that these common feelings of fear, uncertainty, doubt has a lot to do with your leadership or those on your team? I feel personally that I'm grateful to be in such a growth minded organization who really does view, mistakes or wrong, I don't even want to say wrong decisions, but
Oh,
everything's a learning opportunity. Everything's a chance to level up. And for someone who is, I will say, self-proclaimed recovering perfectionist, where that was me. I didn't want to be wrong. I didn't want it to look bad. I wanted to make sure it was 100% right or perfect before, going through with it. But I've gotten to the point now where, I mean, I feel comfortable just coming to you with like that first, 80%. Now let's poke some holes into it and let's work through it together. But it's because this organization has fostered that, where I feel confident in myself. I'm not worried if I, you know, make a wrong call or something doesn't go, if I don't get the results necessarily that we were looking for the first time around.
there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I I can only speak for myself. Um, the amount of failure that I've had over the last 21 years as an entrepreneur, I've lost count. The amount of learning that I've had over the last 21 years as an entrepreneur, I'm so grateful for. Um, and it really is a bit of a reframe.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be where I'm at today and have the perspective that I have today without all of the failures that I've experienced along the way, or I would be at where I'm at today or having experienced what I've had today without all the lessons that I've learned along the way. You're either winning or you're learning. If we remove the idea of failure altogether, I think there's such a negative stigma associated and tied to that that's very deeply psychological. Um, but I think something too. There's the story of Steve Jobs and uh, Johnny Ives. Steve Jobs and Johnny would collaborate on a project, and they used a I think it was a 10-80-10 rule, meaning there was a collaboration at the beginning. Steve would have an idea, bring Johnny in. Um, Johnny would take it to the 80% and then bring that back to Steve.
Mhm.
And that rapid evolution is different than what we see in a lot of financial brands. It's the
Yeah.
perfectionism. But as we're
I
talking,
think
what if the perfectionism is what drives the procrastination?
Oh, 100%. But I think you saying that, James Robert, that's so much of our working relationship. I mean, so often that first 10% that your quick start and your Kolbe, your natural visionary jump starts it. I use that jump start to really take off and get the next 80% done,
Yeah.
and then kind of bring it back to you. All right, this is what I have. Let's kind of fine tune it a little bit. I mean, it really is such a good, working relationship in that way.
But that's because we have the awareness of
Right.
self.
Right.
And as a leader myself, I've invested well over six figures in my own personal development, my own personal growth. I would not be where I'm at today had I not had other mentors, guides, entrepreneurial groups that I meet with on a monthly or quarterly basis to hold the mirror up. I mean, even this morning I was sharing with you, like, I got my ass handed to me by Rick. And Rick is a sales coach that I'm working with right now because I know that's a personal growth area.
Yep.
Um, and he made a comment. He goes, "I bet you can't wait till you're finished with me." And I go, "No, actually, I'm appreciating every minute, every moment, even though it's painful,
Yep.
even though it makes me question, even though it creates doubt in my mind in the moment. Once I step out of that moment and I do a little bit of reflection, I'm like, huh, Rick sees something that I don't see in myself. And we need that to continue to level up. We need that to continue to elevate. Otherwise, we just risk getting stuck in the cave of complacency. And then we think that we're just okay."